Strange lights in the sky, unexplained disappearances, and chilling encounters, extraterrestrial beings are said to have crossed paths with humanity in ways that defy explanation. From eerie abduction tales to shadowy figures emerging from the unknown, these stories evoke both fascination and fear. One of the most unsettling claims is the 1961 incident involving Barney and Betty Hill, whose harrowing experience left the world questioning what truly happened. While skeptics demand proof, the mystery deepens with 5 other spine-chilling episodes where humans not only saw but confronted these otherworldly entities. In one case, the encounter turned deadly, claiming the lives of several Russian Navy officers. Were these beings reaching out in peace, only to be misunderstood, or was their intent far darker? The answers may terrify you. Let's uncover the truth. Number 1. Aliens in Alaskan Mountain Base. In December 2023, the UAP Disclosure Act came into effect. As per this law, the U.S. government will collect all data of UAP sightings and disclose them to the public within 25 years. This further solidified the belief of UFO and alien hunters that the U.S. government is definitely hiding something from them. And this is not the first time that the U.S. government has been dragged into such a controversy. Many actually believe that Area 51 in Nevada, USA is actually a secret military base where alien spaceships and even some extraterrestrials are kept in containment for research purposes. Similarly, there is also a theory of the U.S. government working in close contact with extraterrestrials somewhere in Alaska. Surprisingly, Alaska is also ill-famed for innumerable UFO sightings. And the hotspot for this strange phenomena is called the Alaska Triangle. The Alaska Triangle is the area between Anchorage, Juneau, and Barrow, Alaska, which is along the border between Canada and the state of Alaska. The Alaska Triangle has been compared to the notorious Bermuda Triangle that is infamous for the mysterious disappearance of ships and airplanes over many centuries, seemingly without any logical explanation. Within the Alaska Triangle lies Mount Hayes, which is the highest mountain in the U.S. state of Alaska. And also the area in doubt for the U.S. government alien conspiracy theory. UFO sightings are reported with great frequency when it comes to Mount Hayes. Residents in the area have reported sightings of UFOs, flying saucers, and strange lights in the area around Mount Hayes. Some even believe that there is a secret alien base within the mountain, as most of the UFOs are said to disappear without any trace in the sky, implying that there might be a portal through which the UFOs enter within the mountain. And for the longest time, eyewitness testimony was the only evidence to prove that Mount Hayes was a UFO hotspot. That until 1995, when declassified documents revealed that Mount Hayes was mentioned in a very top-secret government project. The project was named Stargate. Stargate was supposedly a project carried out by the CIA. And in these declassified documents, it was clearly reported that Mount Hayes was an extraterrestrial underground base. And if this information was startling, then the manner in which these details were obtained will be even more shocking. Going back to the CIA's top-secret project, Stargate, the alien base information was supposedly disclosed by an experimental investigation technique that was used in the project. This technique is known as remote viewing and was used extensively during the Cold War with the Soviet Union. It is a psychic projection technique where the remote viewer, aka the psychic, is made to sit in one location and can look into a different place anywhere on Earth purely by the power of their mind. Project Stargate's main purpose was to use such psychic spies to find crucial information about the Soviet Union's plans. And the most famous remote viewer from the project was a man named Patrick Price, who was a former police officer. Price was the psychic who reported the alien base in Mount Hayes during one of his remote viewing sessions. He vividly described what he saw, and it shocked everyone in the CIA. He said that while remote viewing Mount Hayes, he saw that there were structures existing beneath the mountain. Tunnels, tubes, pathways, corridors, an entire proper research facility within the mountain. And on deeper investigation, he even saw geographical instrumentation and lots of computers and scientific equipment. But what stunned him right in his chair was seeing extraterrestrials working alongside military personnel at that remote mountain base. And in a shocking turn of events, post that remote viewing session, Patrick Price mysteriously passed away after a few days. Is Price's death in some way a cover-up by the US government, as they were afraid that he would disclose this information publicly? Was he just another whistleblower who was silenced before he could reveal some top-secret information? And do you think that extraterrestrials are still operating out of that mountain base in Alaska? Number 2, reptilian aliens living in Vietnam. Now coming back to Vietnam. In 1991, in the Quang Binh province of Vietnam, a Vietnamese local came across a strange entrance to a mysteriously hidden mountain cave, called the Sun Dong Cave. The entrance was too steep to explore, and so he avoided doing so, but kept a note of its location. After almost 20 years, the British Cave Research Association finally decided to explore the cave, after getting to know about it from that local. Upon entering that cave, the researchers found out something that left them completely startled and dumbstruck. This huge cave had dense jungle overgrowth and running streams of water. Almost like a subterranean Amazon rainforest. What's shocking is that this cave has little sunlight that seeps in through numerous areas in the ceiling of the cave, that has collapsed over the years. This just happens to be the largest underground chamber on planet Earth. The cave is almost 40 stories high and runs through the earth for almost 6 miles. It seemed to be like a totally different world. Researchers found that there is an entire growing ecosystem and estimated the cave to be almost 3 million years old. But locals in the area have something very frightening to say about this mysterious Sun Dong Cave. According to them, this is the dwelling place for strange reptilian-looking creatures. Many locals have vividly described seeing reptilian-like humanoids coming out of the Sun Dong Cave at night. These reptilian creatures are said to walk just like humans, have a tail and have very scaly skin like lizards. According to the locals, these reptilian humanoids live deep inside the cave, the part that humans are yet to explore. Shockingly, US military personnel also came in contact with reptilian-looking humanoids during the Vietnam War in the 1970s. The US soldiers gave the same description as the locals. They saw upright lizard-looking people inhabiting deep caves in Vietnam. Maybe those caves were just another opening to the subterranean reptilian world. Similarly, reptilian-looking humanoids have also been seen in other parts of the world, like in Cusco, Peru. Researchers came across multiple tunnel systems inside caves when they tried to find out if there was any truth to these reptilian creatures. But no concrete evidence of their existence was found, and hence the entrance to these caves were eventually sealed. Number 3, aliens living in inner Earth Antarctica. Back in 1978, the CIA, also known as the Central Intelligence Agency, started a secret project called Project Stargate. Project Stargate's main purpose was to use psychic spies to find crucial information about the Soviet Union's plans during the Cold War. They were using a psychic projection technique called remote viewing, where the remote viewer, aka the psychic, was made to sit in one location and can look into a different place anywhere on Earth purely by the power of their mind. During one such remote viewing session, psychic spy Patrick Price saw an alien base inside Mount Hayes in Alaska, USA. There he saw extraterrestrials working alongside military personnel in a highly advanced research facility. When he described that to the CIA, they were totally dumbstruck. But in a shocking turn of events, post that remote viewing session, Patrick Price mysteriously passed away after a few days. Was this just a cover-up by the US government, or did the aliens that Price saw have something dastardly to do with his sudden death? But this was not the first time that aliens were seen living in a frigid area on Earth. Back in 1945, a startling revelation was made about Antarctica that shook the entire scientific community to its core. U.S. naval officer and explorer Admiral Richard Byrd was one of the first pilots to fly over both the North and South Pole. He was also part of Operation High Jump, the largest expedition ever to travel to Antarctica. It included 13 ships, 23 aircrafts, and over 4,500 military personnel. The duration of this expedition was to be a total of 4 months with a list of military goals that had to be achieved. One of the goals of this mission was also to locate potential Nazi military bases in Antarctica. But while trying to search for the secretive military bases, Admiral Richard Byrd and his team came across something highly unexpected that would scare them for a lifetime. The information about this horrid encounter was mentioned in a diary that Admiral Richard Byrd's son found many years after his death. Apparently Admiral Byrd kept this information secret as he was suppressed by the government to do so. The government feared that such information would trigger mass panic around the world. In his diary, Admiral Byrd talked about an entrance to the center of the Earth from the South Pole. And upon discovering that entrance, he and a fleet of military airplanes flew inside that entrance, trying to see where it eventually led to. The fleet of airplanes flew into the Earth, and as they moved ahead, at the end of the tunnel they found another temperate world existing there, totally unaffected by the frigid temperatures at the surface. It was totally lush and green, like suddenly they had been transported to the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. And as they kept flying forward, they found a city with constructions made out of crystal. Then suddenly they noticed flying disc-like objects surrounding them, and after that, they lost total control of their airplanes. Going to say that the advanced technology of those superior beings was able to remotely control US military aircrafts at will. They eventually made them land on the ground and were escorted by alien-looking beings in a cave-like area. There he met the leader of these alien beings, who Admiral Byrd referred to as Master in his diary. The Master then went on to convey to Admiral Byrd that they were highly disappointed by humanity, especially the use of nuclear weapons in World War II. They were really worried about the future of the surface of the Earth. And it all makes perfect sense now, as UFOs are mostly spotted around nuclear launch sites and military bases. Like the recent jellyfish UAP sighting that took place in 2018 at an American military base in Iraq. Aside from peaceful conversation, no harm was done to the Admiral and his team. They were allowed to leave without keeping back any hostages and with all their equipment. It was also mentioned in the same diary that upon their safe return to the surface, Admiral Byrd wanted to share this news with the world, but was ordered to remain silent and never to speak of this publicly by the military. So what do we make of this entire encounter? Was Admiral Byrd just hallucinating because of the extreme temperatures? Or did he actually meet aliens living in inner Earth? And if this alien city actually exists, are these the aliens and UFOs that we have been seeing all this while around our planet? Number 4. Russian divers come face to face with underwater aliens. This is by far the most terrifying encounter, revealed in Russia's declassified reports. Coming face to face with an extraterrestrial on land is enough for anyone to freeze to death. Now imagine coming face to face with not 1, but 6 aliens when diving underwater at great depths. There is literally no escape. That's exactly what happened in Siberia in 1982. Lake Baikal is infamous for unusual alien and UFO activity in Russia. With a depth of 1,642 meters, Lake Baikal is the deepest freshwater lake in the world. It contains 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater. On that fateful day, Russian Navy divers were conducting a research mission, as very little is known about this UFO hotspot. A total of 7 divers embarked on this scary mission, totally oblivious of the fact that this dive would change their lives forever. They all went up to a depth of about 50 meters, which is not too far in deep-sea diving terms. But suddenly, a few minutes into the water, the divers had an unnerving feeling that they were being watched. When they turned behind to see what it was, they got the shock of their lives. They encountered strange humanoid creatures who were much larger than normal human beings. They were wearing some sort of futuristic helmets. The 7 divers were dumbstruck and feared for their lives. These creatures were almost 9 to 10 feet tall, pretty much resembling the 10-foot alien seen on top of a mountain in Brazil earlier this year. In addition to the sci-fi helmets, they were also wearing very tight-fitting silvery suits. None of the equipment the aliens wore resembled anything that a normal scuba diver would wear. They didn't even carry any oxygen tanks. Does this mean that these creatures have always been living underwater, and are hence used to underwater breathing conditions? And while all this tension was building up, the Russian divers made the horrid decision of trying to capture the underwater aliens, to show to their superiors. In a split second, the divers attempted to get a hold of one of the weaker-looking aliens. But at that exact moment, as a defense mechanism, the alien exerted some sort of powerful thrust that pushed all the 7 divers to the surface within a few seconds. Such a rapid rise is very fatal for any human, as it leads to decompression and in some cases even death. Out of the 7 divers that were thrown back to the surface of the water, 3 died on the spot, and the remaining 4 were very severely injured due to decompression. Had the divers not taken such an aggressive approach, they would still live to tell the tale. This is one of the few encounters where aliens have acted with hostility in their defense against humans. But the second underwater encounter that the Russian Navy had with such aliens almost made them feel like they were about to go to war with them. Number 5. Russian Navy encounters underwater USOs. Most of these USO encounters happened during the Soviet era, that is before 1991. One such disclosure pertains to an undated encounter of the Russian Navy with a group of hostile USOs. Crew aboard a fully weaponized Russian submarine encountered these so-called USOs at a depth of approximately 260 meters. The crew suddenly detected 6 unknown objects on their sonar, all moving in synchronized fashion on a collision course towards the military sub. The military personnel were dumbstruck after it was detected that the USOs were traveling at an astounding speed of 265 miles per hour. Even the fastest man-made submarine, the Soviet-era K-222, could only reach a top speed of 51.4 miles per hour. Thus these alien USOs were traveling at speeds 7 times faster than any technology known to man. This was highly unnerving for these seasoned and well-trained military personnel, who had never experienced anything like this before. The 6 disc-shaped objects moving in formation continued to move at rapid speeds towards the sub. But something very shocking happened when the Russian military personnel thought that all hope was lost. When the Russian sub got alarmed by the incoming USOs and stopped moving, the 6 hostile USOs also froze in their tracks. So as to say that the USOs were only toying around with the Russian sub. But sensing imminent danger, the Russian submarine operatives manned their battle stations. The captain of the sub feared that there was going to be a definite collision, and that he and his crew were under attack by the aliens. In this dire situation, rather than using underwater missiles, the captain ordered for an emergency surfacing of the sub. The submarine finally breached the surface, narrowly avoiding a collision with the USOs. When the sub-operatives checked through the periscope, these 6 objects beamed out of the water and shot up into the sky at absurdly high speeds. Now, was this encounter a hostile show of dominance, or were these USOs merely fleeing the spot to avoid detection? We will never know. But encountering ships that travel at high speeds underwater, that effortlessly continue the same momentum in air, just goes to show that these extraterrestrials possess a technology far superior than ours. And if they have such advanced technology, what is stopping them from waging a full-on war with all the countries on Earth? And if such an unforeseen circumstance does occur, are we capable enough to work as a solid team and defend our home with all our military might combined? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for the latest revelations in space exploration. Hit the bell icon to stay updated, and let's continue to explore together.